Hey guys. Today is my psychological evaluation. So I am headed there. Hopefully I will be. I seem to always have this running issue of being on time, but hopefully I'll be there on time. Yeah, I don't really have much to report beforehand because I'm not even sure what this whole evaluation will entail. I've been trying to look things up, and I know, some people say don't tell them everything. Some people say tell them everything. It's supposed to help you. I don't really know. I plan on telling the psychologist that I chose. I plan on being honest with her. But like I said, I have no idea what the questions will be, what's required of it. So that kind of has me nervous. So the whole unknown part of everything is what has me kind of shook a little bit. But, we'll see what happens. And as always, I will come back and debrief with you guys to let you know how it was and to let others just know what the process is about. So my appointment is at 2:00, and she said prepare for it to be at least 2.5 hours. So that's what 2.5 to 3 hours. I believe I'll have some paperwork to fill out, some evaluation kind of quizzes. But like I said, I don't know what, I'm just kind of going into it with an open mind, and we'll just see what happens. Because the reason I'm doing these videos is that so that other people can be informed, step by step. This may be what you can expect throughout the process to get VSG. So next week is Thanksgiving. So the week after that, I'll have my third weight management course. I keep saying course, but appointment. And hopefully I will have 4 appointments under my belt based off of the PCP, my PCP approval letter. Hopefully that will count towards 4 appointments, and then I'll have 2 left. I've checked in with my coordinator at the surgeon's office, and she still hasn't received my information, my approval letter from my primary care physician. So I called them last week to tell them to send it again. So then I checked back in with the coordinator. That's the thing with this process. It's a lot of following up with people to make sure they do their job. So just make sure that you are on point with all of your appointments. Make sure that all of the paperwork that you need is going back and forth and being handed off to the right people. Make sure you keep a checklist. I got a checklist in my packet the first time I met with the coordinator, and so I've just been checking off everything that I need to do. So this evaluation part and the PCP approval letter were 2 of the main things that I had to do other than the weight management appointments. So just make sure you keep on top of people. Don't assume that things are getting done in the background. Please don't assume. That's the one thing I can tell y'all. Please don't assume that things are getting done in the background, because they're not. You got to be on people and check in, and and make sure that things are being completed, and then make sure that you got copies of your own stuff so that if anybody says, well, we didn't get this, oh, I have a copy of it, here you go, let me fax it to you, let me email it to you, or whatever. So just keep on top of your own paperwork. So that's the one thing I can suggest. Now I will ask after this appointment, what's the next step, I guess. I don't know if there's a document that needs to be, there's an evaluation. I'm sure that there has to be an approval. I need to, just follow up and make sure, okay, who are you sending it to? Is there a confirmation that'll be sent to me? Just so I can stay on top of it and make sure that everything is going to get to the right people. And then I also want to find out the timeline of when the evaluation will be completed and when I'll get the results or the approval, or if I pass or fail the evaluation or whatever. I'll be back with you guys to let you know how it went. So, be back. All right, you guys, I had to come back and finish recording. I almost forgot. I got caught up. But anyway, I just wanted to come back and let you guys know how the psychological evaluation went. I was there for about a total of 2 hours and some change. Initially went there, met with the psychologist, and we pretty much spent an hour just getting to know me. She had a checklist, so she was asking some questions about, you know, my family history, like how was it growing up for me, if I had any traumatic incidents. So we went through that, and just a bunch of questions about me and my family, and you know, my relationships with my parents and my siblings, and you know, how I relate to food, if I have any kind of like impulsive habits in relation to food or drugs or drinking, or she even asked about shopping. I was like, oh, sis, let's not talk about that. But I really just went in open and honest for the appointment. You know, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, she got a good understanding of who I was. We talked about therapy and me being in therapy and how that has helped and how that has been impactful in my life. And then we kind of moved on to the computerized testing that was required after the kind of talk through. So the computerized survey, we'll call it like a survey. So there was a computerized one that was 380 questions. I was like, excuse me? It was all multiple choice, like 1 through 4, from false to somewhat true to, you know, moderately true to very true. So those type of responses for the questions, they kind of went all over the place. So I can't even really like comment on the questions that I got, because they were just all over the place. There were a lot dealing with like suicidal thoughts. Have you dealt with depression? Do you ever feel that you're worthless, or do you want to give up, and stuff like that? There were also questions relating to food, like your control with food. Like that wasn't necessarily the computerized version. So let me rewind. There was a computerized questionnaire that I filled out, and that was the 380 questions. Then there was a paper questionnaire that was based around like your eating habits. And then that one was probably maybe 50 or so questions. And then there was another one that was about 40 questions. So they didn't take long to do. The thing that the doctor did advise was to not overthink any of the questions, because the more you overthink things, the longer that it would take to get things done. So, you know, just kind of going with your first thought for those questions. I mean, it wasn't anything that was like, oh, you know, sometimes I had to sit and think, but of course, like, you know, doing something that's over 400 questions as a whole, I'm not going to remember, you know, every single thing that I answered, but it wasn't something, it was like, I made it out to be a bigger deal than it actually was. It was just answering questions and going through the motions. So she did say that if it was an issue of like, I would need to put the surgery on hold. She said that she has done that several times, but it wasn't often. And for those people that she did it for, she felt as though, you know, there were things or triggers that they needed to work on outside of, you know, the evaluation, things that might make them not be successful with the surgery. So I could totally understand that. But these damn ladybugs in my office. But yeah, I think overall everything was good. I'm sorry I couldn't give you like more insight into the questions that they asked, but it was just so much. Oh my gosh, it was a lot. But just kind of any kind of if you've ever taken like any kind of behavioral type of questionnaire, that's pretty much like what it was. Like I said, it was some questions relating to food and everything like that, but overall, it wasn't as big of a deal as I made it. You definitely don't have to be nervous. Just go in and be open and honest and understand that this surgery is not a one-stop shop, that it is something that you definitely will have to work on continuously. It's a whole lifestyle change. It's not just getting the surgery and then being skinny and you don't have to do anything else. This is like a lifestyle change that you will have to make, and you have to be committed to it as well. And that's what I believe the psychologists are looking for when they evaluate the patients. Do your research before you even go in, start the process for having surgery, because if there are things that you haven't dealt with, like in your past, or like relationships with food, or things that trigger you to eat badly, you may want to try to work on those things before you try to go through the process of getting this surgery. So that's just my input for those of you that are out there. Don't overthink things. Just go in and do your best, and I think you'll be fine. So let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to leave a comment. You can also contact me through social media or on my email, which I believe is listed in my About section, if you have any questions. But feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, talk to you soon.